"Please, don't go," I begged, aware that my attempt to keep my husband home from this business trip was futile. "And do what? Tell my boss I refuse to go because my wife asked me nicely?" he said with a little too much sarcasm for my liking. This was his third business trip this year, and each time they got longer and longer. Sure, the money was good enough, but not enough for me to give up the time with him. "It's only a week. The time will fly and I'll be back before you know it." He kissed my forehead. That did it. I could fight back the tears no longer. "Please don't cry, honey," he begged, but I just couldn't help myself. Watching him now as he packed a week's worth of clothes just burned me up. "Why do you have to go? Isn't there anybody else in your company that could do it?" His look told me I was being a bit overdramatic, and maybe I was, but I didn't care. He was my hubby and I loved him. We'd only been together for 2 years and only married 6 months of that. I wanted to spend all my waking hours with him. Oh, okay. Maybe I am being a little bit dramatic. "You know I can't, babe," he pleaded. I didn't let up, though. I pouted for the rest of the evening. Sure, this time could have been better spent laughing and cuddling with him, but I needed him to understand how upset these stupid trips were making me. That night, I laid on my side facing away from Aaron. This prompted him to scoot up behind me, embracing me with his strong arms. I could feel his breath on my neck as he planted a soft kiss in the crook. I loved him so much. "I want to stay," he whispered. I nodded, and we both lay in silence until we drifted off to sleep. The next morning, I awoke to the smell of bacon and coffee. A smile spread across my face. He always made breakfast for me when he thought I was mad. I rushed to the kitchen, hoping to find him there, wearing my frilly apron as he always did, flipping pancakes. Instead, I found a plate, the steam still rising from it. He must have just left, I thought to myself, but I didn't remember hearing the door close. In fact, I didn't remember even feeling him get out of bed, which I usually did. Sitting by the plate was a handwritten note. It read, "Lacey, you are the love of my life. I'm here to give you what you want and deserve. We'll start with breakfast. Don't wait up. I love you. See you soon." See you soon? So that means he stayed? I wonder what his boss thinks about that. I wonder what he told him in order to stay. Either way, I don't even care. I'm just so happy he decided to appease me and forgo this stupid trip. I think that's probably the sweetest thing he's ever done, aside from his proposal. He asked me to marry him on one of our last days in class. We met in college, running into each other on a regular basis since we both majored in journalism. We flirted for a while, becoming study partners, until the day he kissed me. We were basically inseparable after that. One day, close to graduation, he had his friends pass a note all the way across the classroom to me. The note was so cliche, but so damned cute. It read, "Lacey, will you please marry me? Yes, no, maybe. Circle 1. I love you, Aaron." I sat, eating my breakfast, daydreaming about that day. My breakfast was abnormally delicious. He must have thrown a lot of love into his cooking this morning. After we graduated, he landed a dream job with a major publication. I landed a fairly decent job, writing a column for a popular online news site working from home. At first, things were great. He had decent hours and was running some really good stories. And because his writing is so compelling, he moved up fast in ranks. Now, he's getting exclusives that's taking him all over the country. He promised me that when we begin to make more money, he'll be able to take me with him. His company only pays for his travel expenses, and just being honest, traveling can get pretty costly. I know I was being hard on him last night. He shouldn't have to choose between his job and my happiness. Hell, I honestly didn't expect him to actually stay. I must have really made an impact on him. I put down my fork and picked up my phone to shoot him a text. Me. I love you so much. I waited patiently before I began to see the dots bouncing around. Aaron. I love you too, babe. I know how much you hate when I leave. Me. It's okay. I know your job is important to you. Aaron. But so are you, and I want to show you that. Me. OMG, I love you so much. I can't wait to see you. Aaron. Me too, honey. I gotta go. Talk to you later. Don't wait up. It's gonna be a late night. Me. K. I put my phone down, satisfied that my man, my husband, told his boss to assign the story to someone else so he could stay here with me. What a guy. That night, I showered and decided to go to sleep early. No sense waiting. It would just make the time go by slower. I wasn't sure what time it was, but I felt Aaron's arms slide around my waist and his breath against my neck. I wrapped my fingers into his as we drifted off to sleep. I was in heaven. The next morning, I again awoke to the smell of breakfast cooking. It struck me as odd that I didn't feel him get out of bed again, but I figured I was just sleeping really well. This morning was a much different story than yesterday. I had a spread of options, as if I were at a hotel buffet. Scrambled eggs, bacon, sausage, jellied toast, fresh fruit, cereal, orange juice. A girl could get used to this. After I began stuffing my face, I picked up yet another handwritten note. This one read, "To my beautiful lady, you are the reason I breathe. Without you, I wouldn't exist. Can't wait to be near you again. I love you." I couldn't believe how sweet he was being. My feelings for him swelled so much in that moment, I began to cry. This has to be what true love really feels like. He is taking the time out of his morning to cook me breakfast, to show me how much he loves me. It's just so damn sweet. I piddled around after breakfast and sent a few "I love you" texts before digging into my work. I got so into it, I didn't really pay attention to the time. It was nearly 10. I picked up the phone to see I had missed a FaceTime call with Aaron. I didn't remember ever hearing my phone ring. I unlocked the screen and revealed several missed texts. Aaron. Hey, sweetness. Just trying to get a little time before you go to sleep. Aaron. I have just a few minutes before I have to get back to work. Can you talk? Aaron. I gotta get back to work, honey. I tried calling. Aaron. Honey, you okay? I looked at the side of my phone and noticed that it was on silent. I cursed myself, even though I don't remember ever putting the phone on silent to begin with. I frantically dialed his FaceTime and was met with the dreaded tones. I immediately went back to my messages, happy to see the dots already bouncing. Aaron. Hey, babe, can't talk. Me. I'm sorry I missed your call. My phone was on silent for some reason. Aaron. It's cool. I love you, babe. I want to see your face, but it's going to be another late night. Get some sleep. Me. I love you too. I was so upset that I had missed his call, but I knew that he would be home soon, so I didn't worry too much about it. That night, I slipped into my silky nightie that he loved so much. I drifted off to sleep and again felt his manly arms wrap around my body late in the night. I had set an alarm to try to beat him up out of bed the next morning, but my efforts didn't work. Apparently, I slept straight through the alarm. even turning it off at some point. I didn't remember hearing it at all, and again, didn't even feel Aaron get out of bed. Again, breakfast was made, but this time instead of a note, there laid a single red rose across the plate. I lifted the rose to my nose and gently sniffed in. I couldn't believe how lucky I was. The days at home went by pretty fast as I dug into work to help keep my mind off of Aaron's arrival home each night. He must have a really good story going to be working all those late hours. And to think that he hasn't even been getting much sleep. He has to be waking up before the sun rises in order to cook me breakfast and leave for work on time. It's because of that reason I haven't really been pushing myself on him to make love. He has to be exhausted. And besides, he threw away a damn good opportunity to just come home and lay with me every night. The least I owe that man is some sleep. The next few days went the same way. Me setting my alarm, trying to get up to cook him breakfast instead of the other way around. Me sleeping through my alarm, only to awake and find breakfast. Sending a ton of texts throughout the day. Rushing to bed early so I didn't drive myself crazy waiting. I loved every minute of it. I could smell him every morning, feel the warmth of his body still on the blankets after he left. I would traipse to the kitchen to find my breakfast and all the other various gifts he'd left. This morning was no different. While enjoying my hearty breakfast, I reached down to read the note that he had left for me this morning. My lovely Lacey, I love every minute of time we spend together. You are all mine, and I am yours. We will be together again real soon, and I can't wait. I love you. That man, he knows how to get me every time. Deep in my thoughts about how much I just love my husband, I was startled to hear the front door open and the alarm chime. Maybe he took off early to be at home with me today. Although we had been sleeping next to each other, we haven't really spent much time together all week. Come to think of it, I don't think I've even actually laid eyes on him at all this week. Honey, I'm home, he yelled in his worst impression of Ricky Ricardo. I giggled. I was so excited to see him. I can't believe he took off work early to be with me. He's such a great husband. Giddy with excitement, I grabbed the note and ran to the entryway to greet him. And there he was, looking so handsome, with his button-up shirt and tie, sunglasses sliding down his nose, just enough to see his eyes peeking over them, toothpick in his mouth, and suitcase in his hand. Wait, suitcase? I stopped short and my smile faded immediately. He could tell my mood changed because his look of excitement turned to worry. Babe? He asked, setting down his suitcase. My eyes followed. So, you just delayed the trip? You're going to leave now instead? That's why you spent the week buttering me up? So you could just turn around and leave? I said with my arms crossed, trying not to sound like the pitiful fool that I was. But how could anyone blame me? After being treated to all the great gifts all week, why would I want him to leave? What the hell are you talking about? Came his reply, which only annoyed me. Your trip, I yelled. You made me breakfast all damn week just so you could turn around and leave? Maybe I was being a bit dramatic, but there was something about his face that didn't sit right with me. It wasn't anger or frustration. It was like pure confusion. Breakfast? He questioned. Honey, are you okay? I'm fine, I snapped. I can't believe he would be acting like this. Was this some kind of joke? So where are you headed off to now? I asked as angrily as I could to get my point across. I'm not headed anywhere. This trip exhausted me, so I asked my boss for a few days off to spend with you. What? I asked, startled by what he had just said. What trip? That question confused him even more. He approached me slowly, as if I was going to attack him at any moment. The trip I took to Chicago for the big story I landed? Are you sure you're feeling okay? He placed his hand to my forehead and I backed my face away. I looked him in his face. He wasn't kidding. He was being 100% serious. I felt a lump form in my throat. I quickly began to try and recall the events from this past week. I remembered that I hadn't seen a suitcase still sitting by the closet at any point in time, but I thought maybe he just unpacked it and put it away. And although I felt Aaron get in the bed, I never felt or heard him leave. I don't ever remember hearing the house alarm chime in the morning either. But it couldn't be true. Work was consuming him here, I thought. And if he was in Chicago, why would he write that he would see me soon on all the letters he left? The hairs immediately stood up on the back of my neck as sheer panic set in. It must have shown on my face because Aaron began shaking me, asking me what was wrong. I couldn't answer him, though. All thoughts and logic just faded away. Hazily, I looked at my breakfast, sitting on the bar, steam still rising from its surface. Aaron's voice was just an echo in the background as I reread the note in my shaking hand. My lovely Lacey, I love every minute of time we spend together. You are all mine, and I am yours. We will be together again real soon, and I can't wait. I love you.